In past and recent times, non-profit organizations have been accused of aiding and abetting money launderers through layering of stolen wealth to several countries, thereby complicating and hindering the fight against terrorism financing and other illicit acts that poses a dent on Nigeria's image before the international community. Others warn the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Financing of Terrorism and Compliance Clinic for non-profit organizations in the North Central region. Npos have demanded that there is no need for blanketing or generalization of non-profit organizations, noting that there are subsets which have higher vulnerability or exposure in terrorism financing and money laundering. Victoria Ibezi-Mohari of Spaces for Change explains that if blanketing subsists, it will disrupt the work of NPOs who have genuine intentions.
A lot of people that have been alleged to be involved in money laundering have not been, they have not been brought to book. And when they are not brought to book, you are creating an incentive that this is a lucrative activity that people should indulge in. Then the aspect that concerns NPOs is that when you shift regulatory hammer on sectors that bear the lowest risk and vulnerability. So we're also demanding that with greater judicial intervention that there will be an even application of the rules to crimes. So when you make a law that generalizes, that creates an impression that everybody is exposed to equal level of risk and bears some level of threat, then while implementing those laws, it's going to cause some disruptions in the work of NGOs. So we're advocating against those disruptions to the operations of legitimate charities.
Spaces for Change stress the need for the judiciary to do a lot more in helping the fight against financial corruption, saying it is not just enough to have laws, but they should ensure they fight the cause they are made for. According to Financial Action Task Force, the global body that regulates money laundering and terrorism financing, each country is expected to strengthen their money laundering and terrorism financing law to spot the issues, conduct risk assessment, amongst other things.
If you have like NPOs who are in the northeast who might be susceptible to issues around money laundering and terrorism financing, what the law should do is to assess those NPO organizations, assess those organizations and help create mitigating, check controls in those organizations to help them rise above the risk and vulnerability of such threats.
While it has been pointed out that the fastest way to link an operation of an organization to a terrorist group is through beneficiaries, the three stages in money laundering are placement, layering, and integration. And for these participants, it is an eye-opener for him and the organization he represents to avoid being victims of circumstance.
This workshop is actually very, not just educating, empowering, because a lot is happening in terms of, look at the banditry issue that is happening, look at the terrorism issue that is happening, different groups coming up. They have, support, financial support, they have backs up and everywhere. And part of this, and different strategies to sustain their illegal activities and their activities that is actually causing insecurity in the country and all that. And so these are part of, this training is part of the process to actually also, one of the process actually also curtail and trying to also make sure that people are made aware of ways to also contribute in terms of not being used, whether innocently or deliberately, as part of that scheme to continue to perpetrate their illicit and illegal activities.
To stem the tide, relevant agencies such as EFCC, which has been mandated to fight this issue, require autonomy to wield the hammer effectively, just as adequate funding to invest in sophisticated infrastructure for investigation and establishment of guilt, as well as capacity building of personnel, seeing that terrorists use sophisticated means to launder money and conduct various kinds of organized crimes. Oluwatobieni reporting for Viable TV.